The lower control arms, or what is commonly referred to as the coffin arms, connect the lower wheel carrier via a ball joint, blue arrow, and the subframe via a nut and bolt, red arrow. The camber of the wheel carrier is set by the eccentric nut and bolt and washers on the subframe side. If you are replacing the arms, it is a simple procedure that does not need the removal of the axle. If you're going to reinstall the original arms for whatever reason, you will need to remove the axle so you can get a ball joint separator in there. Otherwise, a simple pickle fork will be used to separate the wheel carrier from the arm, and that will destroy the boot and the ball joint on the control arm. Begin by safely raising and supporting the vehicle. This image better shows the nut, bolt, and eccentric washers that connect to the subframe, red arrow, where the ball joint connects to the wheel carrier, green arrow, and the diagonal or forward control arm, blue arrow, and where it connects to the coffin arm. If you are replacing the left side, you will need to disconnect the headlight leveling system attached to the coffin arm. Working from underneath, support the arm with a 10mm wrench and use a 9mm wrench to remove the arm from the mount, red arrow. Press out the plastic peg in the center of the mount and compress the clips and pull the mount off the arm, blue arrow. Before you loosen anything, make sure to mark the eccentric washers on both sides of the subframe mount. Working on the diagonal control arm where it attaches to the subframe, red arrow, use a T27 torque and remove the single screw holding the underbody air diverter and remove the diverter, blue arrow. I like to remove the upper air diverter attached to the diagonal arm by unclipping it from the arm, blue arrows. You can also do this after you remove it if you are replacing the arm. Remove the bolt connecting the diagonal arm to the coffin arm by using a 21mm wrench on the nut, red arrow, and an 18mm socket or wrench on the bolt, blue arrow. Using the same 21mm wrench and 18mm socket, remove the nut and bolt holding the front of the control arm to the subframe, red and blue arrows. Remove the arm by sliding the coffin arm end towards the subframe and then the other end out from the mount. The 21mm nut should sit in a recess in the subframe, red arrow. Support the control arm and wheel carrier with a floor jack and remove the 18mm nut on the ball joint. The ball joint tapered end spins, use a T40 torque to hold it in place and then loosen it, red arrow. If you are replacing the arm, you can just use a pickle fork to separate it from the wheel carrier, red arrow. Note, this will destroy the boot on the ball joint. Use an 18mm and 19mm wrench and remove the nut, bolt, and eccentric washers. Do not forget the eccentric washer on the nut side. Installation is the reverse of removal. Do not put any grease or Loctite on hardware that has the Dacromet finish. Torque the ball joint to the wheel carrier to 56 foot-pounds. Line up the eccentric washers with your marks and torque to 74 foot-pounds. Torque the diagonal arm to the coffin arm to 118 foot-pounds and the diagonal to the subframe to 133 foot-pounds. You must now get the car's alignment done. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another video in this series.